Good day, everyone, and welcome to our program. This is Lighting Your Way, coming to you from the Covenant Moravian Church at 127 Malines Road, Kingston 20. It's a joy to have you sharing in our program today. We are grateful for the feedback we have received thus far and await your feedback and responses in the coming days and weeks. We are in the year of Jubilee. As a country, Jamaica, we celebrate our 50th year of political independence. We give God thanks for what He has been able to do among us and through us and with us. And we lift His name on high and give Him thanks and praise for the great things He has done and continue to do with us as a beloved country, Jamaica land we live. Join us today as we reflect upon this concept of the Jubilee based on the Holy Scripture. Stay tuned.
For these are the days of Elijah, declaring the word of the Lord. And these are the days of the servant Moses, righteousness being restored. And although these are the days of great trial, with famine and darkness and sword, but we are the voice in the desert crying, prepare ye the way of the Lord. Say, oh, He comes, riding on the cloud, shining like the sun. And the trumpets call, lift joy, for the year of Jubilee. Out of Zion's hill, salvation comes. And these are the days of Ezekiel, all those dry bones becoming as flesh. And these are the days of the servant David, rebuilding that temple of praise. Yes. And these are the last days of harvest. The fields are all white throughout the world. And we are the laborers that are in His vineyard. Declaring the word of the Lord. So He comes, riding on the cloud, shining like the sun. The trumpets call, lift your voice right now. It's the year of Jubilee. Out of Zion's hill, salvation comes.
Good afternoon, friends, and welcome to our program. This is Lighting Your Way. You know, the plans are well advanced. In fact, much has already been implemented in relation to Jamaica's 50th year of political independence, the year of Jubilee. And as we reflect around this concept, this theme of the year of Jubilee, much talk exists about and takes place about what we are going to do as a nation. What are those things we're going to embark on? What has been our journey thus far over these 50 years? What have we accomplished and have not accomplished? Where do we go from here? As we mark the beginning of another 50 years, what is the legacy that we are creating? Even as we reflect upon the legacies received over the past generations. As a country, we can bask in our infrastructural development. We can talk about our enterprise and our engagement and our successes in the field of sports, in the field of music, in the field of the arts and the culture. So there is much to celebrate as we mark our 50th year of political independence. As we celebrate our Jubilee, there is also much discussion about how much we have failed. What are those things we have not accomplished? How much has politics and corruption brought down and invaded our society? There are a lot of skepticism about where we are going to go from here. So while on the one hand there are many people who are celebrating those things we have achieved and looking forward to those things we need to achieve, there are the skeptics who are very reluctant to identify any great successes of our nation and are skeptical also about the political will required for the way ahead. But you know, as we contemplate this concept of the Jubilee, it is important to reflect around the genesis of the Jubilee. Why are we celebrating this Jubilee? What is it that has influenced this concept of the Jubilee? And we must reckon that the genesis, the root, the core, the foundation of this Jubilee celebration lies in the Word of the Lord, lie in the Holy Scriptures. In Leviticus chapter 25, there is outlined the concept and the practice and the expectations of the year of the Jubilee. I want to read all the verses for us today, not shortchanging any, but beginning at verse 4 down to the end. Hear what the text says. As the Lord spoke to Moses on Mount Sinai, count all 7 Sabbaths of years, 7 times 7 years, so that the 7 Sabbaths of years amount to a period of 49 years. Then have the trumpet sound everywhere. On the 10th day of the 7th month, on the Day of Atonement, sound the trumpet throughout your land. Consecrate the 50th year and proclaim liberty throughout the land to all its inhabitants. It shall be a jubilee for you. Each one of you is to return to his family property, and each to his own clan. The 50th year shall be a jubilee for you. Do not sow and do not reap what grows of itself, or harvest the untended vines. For it is a jubilee, and it is to be holy for you. Eat only what is taken directly from the fields. In this year of jubilee, everyone is to return to his own property. If you sell land to one of your countrymen, or buy any from him, do not take advantage of each other. You are to buy from your countryman on the basis of the number of years since the Jubilee, and he is to sell to you on the basis of the number of years left for the harvesting crops. When the years are many, you are to increase the price, and when the years are few, you are to decrease the price, because what he is really selling you is the number of crops. Do not take advantage of each other, but fear your God. I am the Lord your God. Follow my decrees, and be careful to obey my laws, and you will live safely in the land. Then the land will yield its fruit, and you will eat your fill, and live there in safety. You may ask, what will we eat in the 50th year if we do not plant or harvest our crops? I will send you such a blessing in the 6th year, and the land will yield enough for 3 years. While you plant during the 8th year, you will eat from the old crop, and you will continue to eat from it until the harvest of the 9th year comes in. The land must not be sold permanently, because the land is mine, and you are but aliens and my tenants. So the country you hold as a possession, you must provide for the redemption of the land. If any one of your countrymen becomes poor and sells his property, his nearest relative is to come and redeem what his countryman has sold. If, however, a man has no one to redeem it from him, but he himself prospers and has sufficient means to redeem it, he is to determine the value for the years since he sold it. He can then go back to his own property. But if he does not acquire the means to repay him, what he sold will remain in the possession of the buyer until the year of Jubilee. It will be returned in the Jubilee, and he can then go back to his property. If a man sells a house in a walled city, he retains the right of redemption a full year after its sale. During that time, he may redeem it. If it is not redeemed before a full year has passed, the house in the walled city shall belong permanently to the buyer and his descendants. It is not to be returned in the Jubilee. But houses in villages without walls around them are to be considered as open country. They can be redeemed, and they are to be returned in the Jubilee. The Levites also always have the right to redeem their houses in the Levitical towns which they possess. So the property of the Levites is redeemable. That is, a household in any town they hold, and it's to be returned in the Jubilee, because the houses in the towns of the Levites are their property among the Israelites. But the pasture land belonging to their towns must not be sold. It is their permanent possession. If one of your countrymen becomes poor and is unable to support himself among you, help him as you would an alien or a temporary resident, so he can continue to live among you. Do not take interest of any kind from him, but fear your God, so that your countryman may continue to live among you. You must not lend him money at interest, or sell him food at a profit. I am the Lord your God who brought you out of Egypt, to give you the land of Canaan to be your God. If one of your countrymen becomes poor among you and sells himself to you, do not make him work as a slave. He is to be treated as a hired worker or a temporary resident among you. He is to work for you until the year of Jubilee. Then he and his children are to be released, and he will go back to his own clan, to the property of his forefathers. Because the Israelites are my servants whom I brought you out of Egypt. They must not be sold as slaves. Do not rule over them ruthlessly, but fear your God. Your male and female slaves are to come from the nations around you. From them you may buy slaves. You may also buy some of the temporary residents living among you, and members of their clans born in your country, and they will become your property. You will them to your children as hired. You can make them slaves for life, but you must not rule over your fellow Israelites ruthlessly. If an alien or a temporary resident among you becomes rich, and one of your countrymen becomes poor and sells himself to the alien among you, or to be a member of the alien's clan, he retains the right of redemption after he has sold himself. One of his relatives may redeem him. An uncle or a cousin maybe, or any blood relative in his clan may redeem him. Or if he prospers, he may redeem himself. He and his buyer are to count the time from the year he sold himself up to the year of Jubilee. The price for his release is to be based on the rate paid to a hired man for that number of years. If many years remain, he must pay for redemption the larger share of the price paid for him. If only a few years remain until the year of Jubilee, to compare that and pay for his redemption accordingly. He is to be treated as a hired man from year to year. You must see to it that his owner does not rule over him ruthlessly. Even if he is not redeemed in any of these ways, he and his children are to be released in the year of Jubilee. For the Israelites belong to me as servants. They are my servants who I brought out of Egypt. I am the Lord, your God. These are certainly the words of the Lord, and we honor it by saying, thanks be to God. The text is a long one, but really outlines God's intention and God's purpose for the year of Jubilee. The text opens by indicating that this year of Jubilee is not one that has just come upon us. It is to be a year that is marked by several things. You have to count off the 49 years. Count them off, mark them down. So that when the 50th year comes, this trumpet must be sounded everywhere to signal that the year of Jubilee is here. So as Jamaica celebrates its year of Jubilee, its 50th year of political independence, we must reckon, friends, that this is not something that has come upon us and that ought to come upon us. Rather, it is something that we have been tracking over the years, that each year we evaluate, we assess where we are and where we have been, what it is that we have achieved and need to achieve. It is not it is not going on aimlessly. Rather, it is a journey, a guided journey, a reflective journey, a corrective action journey as we press along. And in the 50th year, the year of Jubilee, the trumpet is to be sounded to signal that the year of Jubilee is here. And this year of Jubilee is a consecrated year. It is a holy year. It is a set-apart year by the Lord. So in this year of Jubilee, we have to raise questions as to how has our preparation been for this Jubilee celebration? How has the heart preparation takes place? How has the lifestyle preparation take place? How has the mental and physical and psychological and emotional preparation of each other, of the countries, nation, and people? How has the preparation take place for the year of Jubilee? And as the year of Jubilee dawns upon us, and we celebrate on August 6, 2012, we must ask whether or not our hearts, our minds, our beings have been consecrated, and whether or not we are lifting up the sense of holiness and righteousness, of justice and of peace that must be affiliated and associated with the year of Jubilee. In this year of Jubilee, God says, people are to return to their family property and return to their clan. So in the first instance, one of the things we must reckon with as we talk about the year of Jubilee is that it's a time to return. Return to our homes. Return to our place of birth. Return to our family and our clan, our kindred and our people. It's a time to return. It's a time for reunion as families gather together to reflect and meditate on the journey of the generations and descendants of families over these years. So in this year of Jubilee is a moment to reflect upon and to engage with our families. Is a time to return to our homeland, return to our parish of birth, return to our communities of birth, return to our families wherever they are. It's not a time of gallivanting, not a time of run up and down. It's a time to focus our hearts and our minds, our energies around building solid family relationships. And mind you, we know, you and I know, that this is one of the greatest challenges facing our society today. And Jamaica is what it is because our families are the way they are. The challenges we face in our society today is a reflection of the challenges our families face. The heartaches and pains that exist and permeate us, our country, are a reflection of the realities in our homes and our families. And if we are going to correct the challenges and the problems and the burdens we face in Jamaica, we have to begin by correcting our families. And in this regard, the year of Jubilee invites us to reflect upon and to spend time with our families, reflect upon how we have offered training and guidance for our children. What are those legacies we have inherited from our foreparents, from our mothers and our fathers, from our grandparents and our great-grandparents? What are those legacies, those family values and norms and morals that we have inherited, that we must now pass on to this generation and to generations yet unborn? That one that is rich in the Bible, you know, the passing on tradition. And we were here not very long ago when I grew up with my grandmother. She insisted on the traditions of our community, of our nation, of our family were passed on to me. That the proper values and attitudes, the proper good manners and discipline, the proper spiritual things were instilled and inculcated so that a rich legacy was passed on to me. And the question I have to ask, and all of us have to ask, the legacies we have inherited of those of my generation and before, the legacies we have inherited, have we passed on those to this generation so that we may influence and impact generations yet unborn? When I reflect upon the issues of our young people today, we complain that they don't have manners. They have no respect. They are so indisciplined. Something that has happened in Jamaica has never happened here before. Some crises that face our young people in schools, in juvenile centers, wherever they are unprecedented occurrences. And whilst many of us will spend time, many people spend time accusing the young people of what they're doing and not doing, we must shine the light on us and raise the question as to what it is that we have passed on to them. The year of Jubilee is a time to spend with our families and to reflect upon those important family values and norms that we have inherited that must be passed on to our succeeding generations. It is a time to return to our family property, a time to return to family values and norms, a time to return to our communities, to remember where we are coming from and where we have reached at this juncture in our lives. So in fact, it's a moment of thanksgiving for what God is able to do for us and with us and through us. But it's also a time of reflection about what we have done and what corrective action must be taken following the year of Jubilee. So many people have thrown stones behind them, have not gone back to their hometown in a long time, don't know what has become of their communities. So many people have forgotten where they are coming from. The year of Jubilee is a time to remember where we are coming from, our roots, our background, our social upbringing, and engender those and reflect upon those in the year of Jubilee. The year of Jubilee also is a time of redemption. For we must redeem people, redeem their land, redeem their property. It's a time to clear off some debt, to write off some debt in the year of Jubilee. You know, as I think about that, I wonder whether or not financial institutions, whether or not business companies, whether or not individuals may want to contemplate in this year of Jubilee that we must write off some debts that we've been carrying for many years. That people have owed us some money, owed us some good works, owed us some whatever. That in fact, what must happen after the year of Jubilee? You know, we begin the 51st year on a clean slate. That we have wiped off the past wrongs that people have done to us. So the year of Jubilee is a year of forgiveness. Forgiveness of personal hurt. Forgiveness of bad debt. Forgiveness of all kinds of things in the past. Some of us have been carrying some hurt, some pain, some bad debt for a long time. The year of Jubilee is an invitation to say, as we march into the 51st year, let's begin on a new slate. Let's forgive past wrongs. Let's forget past uncomfortable deeds. Let's wipe off some bad debt. Let's wipe out some arrears. Let's clear the backlog and begin anew and afresh. So that in effect, it's not only a building of relationships in relation to our families, but strengthening and building relationships in relation to one another, to our fellow countrymen and women. It is a time of redemption. That's why God said through Moses that in fact, those who have gotten land and have to now return to their land must now calculate how much years are left and pay off those money. So it's a time of redemption, a time of forgiveness, a time of writing off, so that we may begin on a new slate. But it's also a time to reflect on how we treat one another. Because the text says that in the year of Jubilee, we must not treat slaves as slaves, but we must treat them as fellow, as hired workers or temporary residents. So the year of Jubilee is an invitation to business companies and people, and even people who have helpers and so on, to reflect upon how we treat those who work for us. Employers must reckon with how do we treat employees in the year of Jubilee. What is our relationship with them? Are we paying them sufficiently? Are we treating them properly? In the year of Jubilee is a reflection about those who are under our charge, those for whom we have responsibility over, those for whom are employed in our places. How do we, God says, treat the slave that you have bought, not as a slave, but as a hard worker or a temporary resident. But more than that, don't rule over them ruthlessly, but kindly and generously, with compassion and with mercy, is how we must engage with those under our charge. In the year of Jubilee, brothers and sisters, friends, is a time to refocus, to set our priorities right, to get ourselves in order, to ensure that God is at the center, at the focus. God is the hub around that which drives everything we do. He is the driver at the steering. He is the director. He is the captain of the ship. In the year of Jubilee, is a time to place God where God rightfully belongs. First place, priority, center of our personal lives, of our family lives, of our co-workers' lives, of our nation's life. Now we must place God at the priority. He must be the centerpiece of all we do and say, of how we conduct life. That our lives must be ordered by Him. And the lives we live are in relation to the standards He has set for us. I wish for us a blessed Jubilee in Jamaica's 50th year. And pray that this will be a time of reflection, of refocus, of returning, of redemption, as we focus our eyes on God. Amen. It has truly been a joy having you join our program today, Lighting Your Way. We trust that our time spent today reflecting on the biblical concept of the year of Jubilee has left you reflecting and committing yourselves to something great. Indeed, Jamaica has been blessed by God, having journeyed with us over these 50 years of political independence. And we pray this time of Jubilee will usher in a new phase, a new beginning in the life of our country. We can begin on a new slate, seeking to achieve great things by the power of God Almighty. We thank you then and look forward to the feedback for our program today. Should you want to contact us, you may write to the Covenant Moravian Church at 127 Malines Road, Kingston 20. You may call us at 905-0105. You may email us at covenant225@hotmail.com. We thank you and may God bless you.